Hey everybody, JM Creates here, doing another video. I don't know why I always say that. Doing another video. Obviously I'm doing another video, that's why it's posted on YouTube. Whatever. Anyway, I wanted to talk about something today that it's something that's always been in my mind, and it's something that I want to say bothers me, but it's not a huge issue, but I don't know, whatever. I'll talk about it. You'll see how heated I get, and then you decide if you think it bothers me or not. And then you let me know in the comments. By the way, if you're liking any of my videos, if you like my channel, don't forget to subscribe, okay? I'm going to say that at the beginning of the video. Ooh, shocking. So what I want to talk about today is leaders. That's right, I want to talk about leaders. Now, I'm not talking about leaders in the real world. I'm not talking about political leaders or anything like that. No, I'm talking about fictional leaders in cartoons, comic books, whatever it may be. And I've always noticed that the leader of the group is never the most popular character in the group. And, when I was a kid, I had no idea why that was. Because for me, my favorites usually were the leaders, actually. So it always struck me as odd. Like, Transformers, I'm an Optimus Prime guy. Like, Optimus Prime is the man. You talk to me about the one where I wasn't like the super like leader centric was probably G.I. Joe. But even there, my favorite character in G.I. Joe, at least in the cartoon back in the day, was Flint. And Flint was second in command. So I was still kind of following the leader there. I always liked Flint more than I liked Duke for whatever reason. I just did. I think it was the cool red camouflage and the beret. Anyway, whatever. And he was dating Lady J, so, that was cool. And he came with a shotgun, and that was cool too. But anyway, Ninja Turtles, Leonardo. I'm a Leo guy. Leonardo was my man. I know, it's probably weird to some people. They're probably like, what? Huh? No, obviously, like, everyone's gonna have, when it comes to Turtles, it's funny, I've noticed there's, like, people who are strictly into video games, all like Donatello, because he had the longest reach in the video games because of his staff. Other people, maybe cartoon people, like Mikey, or they like Raph the most because of their attitudes. But nobody likes Leo the most, except I do. And whether it was the comic book or the cartoons or whatever, I always was a big fan of Leonardo. And like I said, Optimus Prime was my man. And it's funny because if you really stop and think about it, over the years and over all these different properties, the leaders are never like the most popular one. And then that leads me to one that really, really bugs me, and that's Cyclops. Cyclops is, without a doubt, my favorite X-Man. I don't care what they've done, whatever, okay? He was always my favorite. I know we always try to, everyone tries to play it off like, oh, Cyclops is always a jerk and Wolverine not really. Like, that was their dynamic a little bit, but honestly, Cyclops was the leader, and he, like, by the time you got to the 90s and those X-Men comics in the 90s, Wolverine was listening to Cyclops, because Cyclops would call Wolvie out on his crap. Wolvie would always do the whole disappearing act, and I'm the dark brooding guy, and I have to go off and be on my own, because I'm the tough guy, and I don't work with a team, and blah, 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 all that other nonsense that they've done in all these different incarnations. And meanwhile, Cyclops is always the dude who pulled everyone together and got stuff done. When Wolverine would lose his temper or just completely flip out and like go into a berserker rage and everything else, and he was just off doing his thing, Cyclops is the one actually getting the missions accomplished. He's keeping the team together. And that's why I always liked Cyclops. And there's probably my favorite issue of the X-Men ever is, I believe it was X-Men Unlimited. number 1, I think. At some point, I think I want to do a video about that issue, because I really love that issue. Cyclops and I forget who else now. It's been a long time since I read it, but Cyclops and a couple of other X-Men are in a plane crash in this like snowy area, and they're basically stranded and they have to survive. And Cyclops, like his visor is shattered. He doesn't have his visor, so he basically takes a piece of the glass from his visor, the ruby quartz visor, puts it over one eye, cuts a hole in like one of the straps or his belt or whatever, and then ties it around his face so that he can at least see out of that one eye. It's really badass. It's definitely cool. It shows Cyclops being a leader. And it's just, like, it just makes you respect the hell out of him when you read that issue. And to know that they eventually turned Cyclops into a terrorist, who completely loses it. Like, Cyclops was always the most devoted to Professor Xavier's ideals. He was always the one who was the most devoted to Charles. He looked at Charles Xavier like a father. And I really think that, like, we're in this day and age now where these writers, I don't know if they all hate their fathers or if they didn't have fathers or what it is, but it's like any sort of father figure needs to be destroyed. And so, of course, what do? Cyclops, who himself becomes a father figure, as the series goes on, they have to make him turn into an evil freaking terrorist, and then they have to have him kill Charles Xavier. Like, really? That's where we're going to go with that? Like, that's not heroic in any way. And this is a character who was always heroic. And I know they made him do some scuzzy things in the past, like thinking about other girls while he was with Jean Grey, which was always absurd to me that was like a huge issue. Like, oh, he was looking at Psylocke when she was coming out of the pool. Yeah, no duh. Who wouldn't look at Psylocke when she was getting out of the pool? For crying out loud. Like, give me a break. But I think part of it is, as far as like going more overall, more general now, when it comes to leaders, I think some people, I guess it's almost definitely true, because if you ever read some of the critiques that a lot of modern people have about comic books and about comic book heroes, and especially the heroes who are idealized forms of the human form, what do they always complain about? They always complain about, well, they don't look like me. They're not like, well, yeah, they're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be better than you. But they're not supposed to, but you don't feel, like, if you're a normal human being who has any kind of sense in their mind, reading about superheroes does not make you feel like less of a person. If anything, it should give you something to aspire to. But it shouldn't make you feel bad about yourself. That is 100% the wrong message to take away from superheroes. The whole point is not for them to make you feel small. The point is for them to show you that you don't need to be a superhero to be a hero, to be a good person. And this is, I think, a problem. I think when you read a lot of these critiques, you notice that they all complain about how, they're unrealistic depictions of humans and they make you feel small about yourself. No, that's just wrong. You took the wrong message. I don't know what's going on in your head, and you've got some serious issues that you think looking at superheroes makes you feel bad about yourself. Like, that's just an issue for you. That's a you issue, okay? That's not an issue for most other people. You talk to most comic book fans, they are not going to tell you that reading about superheroes makes them feel bad about themselves. If anything, it makes them feel better. So, you can see where this is going as far as leaders are concerned. If a regular superhero or someone involved in something like the Ninja Turtles or G.I. Joe or whatever it might be, Thundercats, anything, doesn't matter. Like, you're gonna look at them and feel bad about yourself, then that means the leader is going to make you feel especially bad about yourself. Why? Because the leader is the one who keeps everyone together. He's the one who has it the most together. He's the most with it. He's the guy who has the plan. He's the guy who keeps the team together when the hothead of the group wants to storm off and do something crazy and rash. He's the one who keeps them under control. He's the one who makes everyone, who makes the one who feels bad about themselves feel like, yes, you can do this. So someone who's competent and actually good at what they do and confident in themselves makes you feel even worse than a regular superhero if you already feel bad because of the way superheroes make you feel for some reason. So it's no wonder that the leader is never the most popular. Now, the other characters are popular for other reasons too. I mean, some people just like the badass. They like the rebel. Like, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't dislike those characters. Like you look at Voltron. I love Lance. Lance is an idiot though. I like Lance, but he's a moron. He gets himself in trouble a lot because he's a hothead. It's the same thing with Wolverine. I like Wolverine, don't get me wrong. But Wolverine gets himself in a lot of trouble because he refuses to work with the team. He doesn't want to ask for help. He's a loner and this, that, and the other thing. That's fine. It can still be an interesting character. But you still need those leaders. And I feel like now you don't even have that. Like, people are like, in comic books now at least, it's like people are afraid. No, every team is a democracy. There is no one who is any better than anyone else or in charge of others. We all get together and we discuss what we're going to do. While this giant evil menace is rampaging through the city, we will all get together, maybe have a mocha, we'll discuss, we'll come up with a plan, and then we'll write some mean tweets about him, and we'll use a hashtag, stop destroying our city, and we'll tag him in it, and he'll feel so bad that he will stop rampaging and destroying the city. Because mean tweets are like the ultimate power. Like, this is where we're at now. It's just ridiculous. I don't know. I think I'm going off the rails a little bit here, but there's also this whole, like, men aren't supposed to be men anymore, and it's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely absurd. Like, how about this? You're worried about how people are behaving? Stop trying to make it a male, female, black, white, anything issue. It's because it's not. It's not a race issue. It's not a gender issue. It's not any other kind of issue. If someone's a dick, they're a dick. That's all there is to it. If someone's a jerk, they're a jerk. That's the bottom line. So anyway, I'm kind of like off topic here, but let me know, what do you think? Like, do you like the leaders? Because it's funny, because I was a huge Optimus Prime guy, and then when Rodimus Prime took over, I didn't like him. And the reason why I didn't like him was because he was so not Optimus Prime, because he was so unsure of himself. Now, looking back on it now, I can understand how that makes for interesting storytelling and things like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I get that. As a kid, though, I hated it. I hated it. Optimus was so good at being the leader. He was the leader. He was the best. He was the guy who knew everything. He had it all together. He was a leader. Everyone followed him without question. Prime was the man. Rodimus? I'm not so sure. Optimus, I can't ever live up to you, blah, blah, blah. All that wishy-washy, I can't do it. It just annoyed me as a kid. Like, that was not what I wanted from my leader of the Autobots. As a kid. Now, this is me as a kid. These were my reactions as a kid. I hated Rodimus Prime because I thought he stunk. Because I thought he was just a loser, because he was so wishy-washy and so unsure of himself all the time. And I loved Optimus because Optimus was the best. He was the best. He was the leader, and he knew he was the leader. Everyone else knew he was the leader, and there was no question. Like, literally, during, like, the seasons of Transformers, like, after the movie, like, there were times when I was just like, you know what, Rodimus? Just give the frickin' Matrix to Ultra Magnus, because that's who Prime was going to give it to in the first place. Just give it to him. He'd be a better leader. Like, it just got on my nerves. Like, it really did. It got on my nerves, like, the way he was so, like, unsure of himself. And again, I get it. Like, it makes for more interesting character development and storytelling. He's not just another Optimus Prime. But when you're a kid, you're not really too worried about, like, well, is this going to make for interesting character development? No, you're just like, dude, the other leader was the best and you suck. All right, move on. Like, that's how you are as a kid. Like, you're very cut and dry, you know, there's not a lot of, you know, that's just how it is. So anyway, tell me what you think. Did you like the leaders too, or were you like more of a I like the rebel, or I like the science guy, or whatever it is? Like, you know, let me know who were your favorites. Like, did you like the leaders? Were they your favorites? Did you like them okay, but they weren't your favorites? Like, let me know in the comments what you thought. Let me know if you think the reason why why they did Cyclops the way they did is because they just don't understand a strong, good leader. Do you hate what they did to Cyclops? Because I do. It's one of the reasons why I don't read Marvel Comics. And I used to buy every single X book that came out every week for a long time. I spent a lot of money on X books. So let me know, what do you think? What do you think about leaders in fictional stuff? What do you think about what they did to Cyclops? Just hit me up, you know. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumbs up anyway, because what's it really going to hurt you in the long run? If you like my other videos, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. I know I already asked you at the beginning, but I'm going to ask you again at the end, because, you know, I want you to subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You won't miss anything. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at jam_creates. And that's it. I will talk to you guys soon. Maybe I'll have to do a video about that stupid Gillette commercial at some point, because that's really what kind of was getting in my craw at the end of this thing. We'll see. I don't know. I'm trying to stay away from that sort of stuff, but we'll see. So anyway, that's it. I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.